Should have gone out for tonight's meeting, and the paper, Newport Daily News, had an issue. They didn't get it advertised. So all the meetings that were supposed to be held are going to be held on March 26th. The cases we're going to hear tonight were properly advertised, correct, Mr. King?
These cases that you're going to hear tonight were properly advertised,
And all the people that are butters of those other cases will receive first-class notification in the mail of the change. And so that will be on March 26th at 6 p.m. right here. Next order of business is continuances and withdrawals. Mr. Heaney, if you can just read the appeal, the name, and then we'll...
Sure. Appeal of Tins Limited Liability and Rhode Island Nurseries.
Mr. Chairman, I received a letter last week from the attorney for the owner, and they've respectfully requested that that petition be withdrawn without prejudice.
We don't need a vote for that, right?
You should take
You should.
Yes.
Motion to withdraw petition without prejudice.
Second motion.
Motion made and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
The petition of Atlantic Beach Suites Limited Liability Company by their attorney, David P. Martin.
Should mention the property address for
Okay.
this.
The said real estate is located at 42 through 44 and 56 Wave Avenue.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the applicant was unable to get his expert witnesses together for this evening's meeting, so he's requested that that be continued to March 26th.
Okay, so noted. Continuing that to March 26th.
Petition of Atlantic Beach Suites Limited Liability by their attorney, Sean Bouchard. The property is at 28 Aquidneck Avenue.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. This matter is currently just being filed for development plan review, so we're asking for a 1-month continuance.
Okay, so noted.
Thank you.
March 26th.
Petition of On the Pond Limited Liability Company, their attorney, David P. Martland. Said real estate is located at 116 Aquidneck Avenue.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, there's two petitions related to that under On the Pond, and the attorney for the applicant has also requested that those be continued to March 26th.
So noted. Continue.
Petition of John R. Gullison and Bonnie F. Zimble, owners, by their attorney, Jeremiah C. Lynch. Said real estate is located at 59 Aquidneck Avenue.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. We are finally ready to get in front of the Planning Board on development plan review on that. So my suggestion is, rather than continuing it out 1 month, if we want to continue this out to the May meeting, might be appropriate.
Okay, so what's the date of the May meeting, Mr. Kane?
Get that for you. Okay. You got May 28th.
Continue to May 28th.
Thank you very much.
Is that both of them?
Yes, both applications.
Okay, we're going to move on to our full hearings.
There's 3 petitions by MR5 Ludlow Partnership. You want me to read all 3 of them?
Yes.
Okay. Petition of MR5 Ludlow Partnership owners by their attorney Jeremiah C. Lynch, Esquire, for a variance from section 603, 701, and 803G to construct a 319 square foot addition to the existing two-family dwelling with a rear yard setback of 14.5 feet where 50 feet is required, and a left and right yard setback of 20 and 30 feet, 20 where 30 feet is required, resulting in a lot coverage of 24% where 20% is permitted. Said real estate is located at 5 A and B Ludlow and further identified as Lot 65 on Tax Assessor's Plat 107 Northeast. Amended petition of MRI 5 Ludlow Partnership owners by their attorney Jeremiah C. Lynch, Esquire, for a variance from sections 603 and 701 and 803G to allow the construction of a 319 square foot rear addition with a rear yard setback of 14.5 feet where 50 feet is required, a left yard setback of 17.6 feet, and a 20-foot right yard setback where 30 feet is required. Lot 65 on Tax Assessor's Plat 107 Northeast. Petition of Ludlow Partnerships owners by their attorney Jeremiah C. Lynch, Esquire, for a special use permit from section 602 to allow a 319 square foot addition to the existing two-family dwelling. Said real estate is located at 5 A and B Ludlow Road and further identified as Lot 65 on Tax Assessor's Plat 107 Northeast.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jay Lynch on behalf of the applicant. I guess just as a matter of housekeeping first, if we could withdraw the first application, I think that was supplanted by the amended petition that we filed. So if we could withdraw that application, please.
Very good. Yeah.
So,
Motion that we withdraw the petition?
Motion made, second.
Second.
Motion made, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Withdrawn without prejudice.
thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'll give a quick overview of the application. I do have Mr. Gullison here, who is the principal of the applicant, who's here to answer any particular questions that you may have. This is an application for the real estate located at 5 Ludlow Road. It's an existing two-family dwelling. It is a non-conforming structure by dimension. The existing structure is located within the side yard setbacks and does not have sufficient dimensions from the distance from the rear setback. What is being proposed this evening is that Mr. Gullison would like to add a 319 square foot addition to the rear of the premises at 5 Ludlow Road. The purpose of that addition is to add an additional bedroom and storage to that rear unit. Mr. Gullison has a number of rental units in the Ludlow Road area. And in that area, almost every unit there is a two-bedroom unit. There is a need that Mr. Gullison's realized from tenants looking for three-bedroom units. If they've got a couple children, male, female, some families are looking for three-bedroom units. So what he's proposing is to create an additional bedroom for this unit and having some additional storage for the families because the space is tight in these units. As a result of the addition, we are going to be extending the nonconformity. We have an existing 24-foot setback from the rear yard setback. 50 is required. As a result of this addition, the setback will be 14.5 feet from the rear yard setback. It's also being constructed within the existing side yard encroachment. It's not making it any greater, but it's just maintaining the existing encroachment on the east side of the building. I note in the file that there were no objectors to this application. No one is here to object. I do have Mr. Gullison here if you have any particular questions about the application.
I guess my only question is, part of the standard is to show hardship. what you've explained so far seems like it's financial gain, not hardship.
Well, it's not hardship. It's affording rental units to families that need 3 units, three bedrooms. There is, to afford to give those families units, we need to put this addition on to give additional rental space in the town. It can't be done in this area. We can't fit it anywhere else.
I went on the GIS system today and looked at the neighborhood. There's 26 duplexes on Ludlow Road. And I didn't see, I saw one that had an addition, and that was a corner lot. So I guess my fear would be if we expand this to take up 24%, are the other 26, they would have the same basis to come in.
Well, I know we're trying to improve the area. Mr. Gullison has a number of units in this area. We're trying to provide housing to the residents of the town. That's, by doing it, by creating that additional bedroom which families need, we need to increase the footprint. And because these dwellings are undersized for this zoning district, there's going to be a problem. You're never going to be able to expand without getting zoning relief. So we're going to be stuck with 2-bedroom apartments in that area.
Have you considered going up instead of out?
No, we haven't. It makes it, everything is on one level out there. So this would be the addition. It's to the rear of the property. Doesn't really have any impact on the front. Neighbors have no objection at all. No one's voiced any objection to this improvement to the area. So,
Mr. King, when was this, do you know the date when this development was divided in this way? Was that before it was denoted R20?
To the best of my knowledge, that development was built out in the early to mid-1950s, prior to the town zoning that, I think it was 1985, it was rezoned to the R20.
Was it in Navy property back then?
I believe it was always privately owned, but built to support the military presence at the time.
Any other questions for them? Any other questions?
I just feel like we have to get a little bit clearer idea on, in order, how to meet the 5 criteria. I mean, it's basically an R10. It would be non-conforming even if it was zoned as R10. So it's not even like, oh, it's just R20. It's a small, I mean, it's only a single story, but the primary hardship is you're arguing that because the district is R20 and the houses are all, the lots are all undersized for.
the lots are all undersized. I'm not saying, I can't say every dwelling unit, but the majority of the dwelling units in this district are all non-conforming structures. They're all duplexes in this neighborhood. The situation that we're having now is we're trying to provide additional living space for tenants who are occupying. The only feasible way to do that is to put on an addition to the rear of the property to give additional bedroom space for families who are looking for 3-bedroom units.
319 square feet?
There's a bedroom and an additional storage space as well. So there's going to be storage space, closet space, and bedroom.
And you didn't give any thought to going up? All those houses over there are on slabs?
I believe they are. Yeah, they are.
I'm just concerned about setting a precedent for the rest of the neighborhood. mean, some people only live indoors, but generally speaking, Middletown has a pretty nice environment in the summer. People like to have barbecues, but when nobody has a yard, it's
And I can have Mr. Gullison get up and explain. The reason he's doing this is it's not going to really increase his bottom line at all. It's that they have tenants who are looking for this additional space in this additional area. So
No,
we wanted to provide this
maybe
opportunity.
those are not the right tenants for this. I mean, if we make an exception based on one person's needs in a geographical location that can't really change indefinitely, usually you say the buyer's wrong, not that the property's wrong.
Well, no, these are all rentals.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying the customer, not the renter,
Yeah.
is the bad fit, not the property. Generally how I've seen real estate. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be not convenient, I just don't want to set a precedent.
I understand my client is trying to improve this area, trying to provide suitable housing for tenants. I understand your concern, but that's where we're coming from at it from this perspective. We're trying to improve the area and give the facilities that tenants are looking for.
Okay.
Thank
Do
you.
you have any other evidence to put forward?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I was informed that the folks in the back can't hear, so if you guys could please use your microphones. Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak for or against the petition? Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony tonight will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name and address for the record.
Anton Viveris, 110 Indian Hill Road. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to submit to the board exhibits to what I want to address.
Is this per the piece of property that we're talking about?
Yeah,
And are you in a butter? Okay.
Thank you.
Basically, this is pertaining to the use of a special use permit or variance. On January 29, I was asked by Mr. Gambrell, when the zoning code and the comprehensive plan are in conflict, which one prevails? In other words, which document should be used for your decision? At the time, I answered the zoning code. After further review and counsel, I need to complete my response to the board. To clarify, it depends upon the type of application submitted to the building officer. 1, if the application conforms to the zoning code prevails. You have a by right to build if you are complying with the zoning code. The zoning code is the document used for those zoning board decisions. 2, if the application is not in compliance with the zoning code, you need a variance or special use permit. If you require a variance or special use permit, then the comprehensive plan is the prevailing document for the zoning board's decision. The priority of
I
the...
don't mean to interrupt, Mr. Viveros, but if you're gonna, you shouldn't be giving legal advice to the board in terms of the application of the zoning ordinance. Or do you have something to
I'm not-
comment on with
I
regard to
have
this
some-
particular
I-
application?
With all due
Because I'm going to disagree saying that that the comprehensive plan, both the comprehensive plan and the zoning code have application in the determination of a variance and in the determination of a special use permit. But do you have anything to add with regard to this particular application
5
that is in
Ludlow.
front of the board?
This particular application is asking for a special use permit or variance. And what I'm saying is, when that happens, it's the comprehensive plan that prevails. According to Rhode Island General Law, Chapter 45-24, it says that towns must establish criteria for issuance of special use permit, and the special
And
use
those are in-
permit
and
must
those are
be
in
in
the zoning
conformance
code.
with the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, so they have to be in conformance with the comprehensive plan and the zoning code. So
If you-
it's not a question of one over the other. And you're not in a position to be giving legal advice to the board.
I'm
So-
not giving legal advice, I am not an attorney. What I'm giving is information to the board so they can make a decision on what's best for the town of
But do
Middletown.
you have anything to add with regard to this particular application?
Are you preventing me from finishing my statement to the council?
No, I'm not, but I got an email from someone today saying that you wanted to provide this information on every application that was pending before the board. And I don't want to have to, we don't want to have to go through this on every single application.
I'm not-
if-
I'm
Unless
not
you're
com-
here to talk to the specific application that's in front of the board.
I'm not going to address every single application. What I'm saying is, every single application that needs a special use permit or a variance, the prevailing document is the comprehensive plan.
That's not correct, sir. And if there's a conflict, if there's both documents are applicable to the board's determination of those applications. If there's a conflict between those documents, the zoning code prevails.
Well, according to chapter 45-24
I'm gonna
that I looked
disagree
it up.
with you, sir.
Well, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to request that the board tables this until I can get written document from my attorney. Because this is a very serious problem. There's 3 proposals before you that require
Are you
special
asking
use
that they
permit.
table all the applications that are scheduled for hearing tonight?
Special use permits or variances, yes, I am.
And you're
You
not
don't
in a
have-
butter to this, you're not in a butter to this application
don't
that's in
have
front of the
No,
board
but
right now?
I'm a resident of Middletown, and I care about what happens in Middletown. And if it isn't proper in one section of town, it's not proper in the other section of town. And what happens in one section of town could next month involve me.
Thank you for your time. Is there anyone else in the audience that'd like to speak on this particular petition? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Do I have a motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept the petition for variance.
Do I have a second? I'll second. Motion made and second. Discussion?
Based on the criteria for variance, I'm looking at the 5 points for the criteria, and it does not appear to me that the petition meets the standards, or at least 3 of the 5 standards. I think the hardship from which the applicant seeks relief is definitely due to the characteristics of the land or structure, so that's one it does meet. But the hardship, the next one is the hardship is not the result of any particular action. And this hardship would be exactly that. It's being created by expanding the dwelling, and it already was noted that the lot is non-conforming, and this would cause that to be even greater. So I can't support it because of that. And then would not alter the general characteristics of the surrounding area. I think that's exactly what we're concerned with, that if we allow that here, the opportunity for the other property owners in the same area could come in and request the same thing. And is the relief to be granted the least necessary? I don't think it is the relief necessary, because he could take other measures, he could ask for less, or he could go up, as we already mentioned. So for those reasons, I'm not in favor of supporting the variance.
Any other comments?
I agree with my colleague on this particular case. So I'm going to vote not in favor of it. Can't support that.
I too am going to vote negative on it. It's very specific in section 5 that dimensional variances granted in conjunction with a special use permit shall be supported by independent evidence on the record satisfying each of the requirements for a dimensional variance. So I don't think we met the standard as listed in the zoning code section 903 for variances, so I too am going to vote against it. Any other discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried, motion is denied 0 to 5, 0. I think 0 to 5. Mr. Regan, on the special use, do we still vote on that?
Yes.
Because the special use is just to have the two-family.
It's for the alteration of the non-conforming structure, but you should vote on both.
And for the two-family.
Yeah, and for the two-family, you should vote on both.
Okay,
Make a
Good.
motion to approve the special use permit.
second,
I second the motion.
discussion?
For the same reasons as the other petition, I'm going to vote not in favor of this petition, because I feel it doesn't meet the requirements.
I too am going to vote against it for the same reasons. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion denied. Ready?
Petition of Brian and Ann Donovan, owners, for a variance from sections 603, 701, to allow the construction of a three-story, single-family dwelling with a right side setback of 5 feet and a left side setback of 6 feet where 15 feet is required, and a front setback of 7 feet where 25 feet is required, and a lot coverage of 35% where 25% is allowed. Said real estate is located on Tuckerman Avenue and further identified as Lot 107 on Tax Assessor's Plat 116 Northeast.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Chris Bean, I have a law office here in Middletown representing the applicants Brian and Anna Donovan. This is property located on Tuckerman Avenue, and the plans are to construct a single-family residence on the property, and it will be their home, their full-time home, their permanent resident. They plan on moving here to live there. We believe that the requests for relief are reasonable. We understand that the petition seeks 4 variances. However, I believe there's a reasonable basis for each one. There's both a right and left side back request, side yard request. And you'll see from the evidence that the width of the lot is 50 feet. So if you take the required R10 side yard setbacks, there would be 15 feet on both sides, so almost 60% of the width of the property would be dedicated to setbacks. The front, although the petition requests a 7-foot setback from the front, this is Tuckerman Avenue, so there's actually, from Tuckerman Avenue, there's actually a 20-foot right-of-way in front of the property. So you'll see the house itself is approximately 32 feet or so back from the actual road. There is a porch there that will be about 27 feet back from the road, so it is not being built right on the road, 7 feet from the road. And the lot coverage, we believe from the evidence, you're going to see Mr. Hull will testify that the requests are within average, taking into account the size of this lot. As I suggested, this is going to be the home of the applicants. They're a young couple with 2 children. They plan on having a bigger family. They are not newbies to Middletown. They just didn't decide to move here and build and see what they, just put an application and see what they can build. They've been coming here. His mother, Brian's mother, has owned this property and a property in the back since 1983. So they've had long-term connections with Middletown. And I believe in this neighborhood, you tend to see this start going dark when the temperatures start dropping. Again, I think it'll be a good thing. They'll be here all year round. So I have 2 witnesses, Brian and Jim Hull, so hopefully we'll be able to put this through rather quickly. So I call Brian Donovan.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear this testimony tonight will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name and address for the record.
Brian Donovan, 4 Clark Hill Drive, Northeastern Mass.
Now, Brian, both you and your wife are the applicants here, is that correct?
Yes.
And you just took title to this lot from your mother, is that right?
Yes.
And she owns a house in the back. What's the address of her property in the back there?
38 Esplanade.
And you plan on constructing a single-family home on the property, is that right?
Yes.
All right. Now, currently on the lot, what is existing?
There's a 2-car garage that's been there forever.
Okay, and you actually have one of your
Yeah, I brought some
slides that show the existing conditions, is that correct?
So this just shows, here's the street right here, it's Tuckman Ave, this is what's here right now, just a 2-car garage, and that's my mother's house up front on 38 Esplanade.
Okay, so you'll be tearing down the garage to construct the home, is that correct?
Correct.
And this shows, actually, the garage right now as it exists is only 1.5 feet off of the property line, is that correct?
Correct, yeah, right there, and it goes about 3 feet right here.
All right.
And then the right of way is deep enough.
But from Tuckerman, it's actually back,
I think this one's about 21 feet, and this corner's about 24 feet.
okay, good. Now, your plans are to build a home, it's actually going to be 3 stories, is that correct?
Correct.
And what is the height of the proposed home?
34 and a half feet.
So it's below the 35 feet that's allowed?
Yes.
Correct? And you have some elevations here if the board wants to see. We have them here in a larger form for the board if they need to see that. Okay. Now, just get into the setbacks. As I suggested in my opening remarks, your lot is, what, 50 feet in width?
Yes.
And depth-wise, it's approximately 98 feet, so the total square footage is about 4,870 feet.
Yep.
Okay. Now, so as we suggested, to meet the setbacks of the code, that would take up 60% of the width of the lot, is that correct?
Correct.
So in your proposal, you're asking for, on the right side, a 5-foot setback, and on the left side, a 6-foot setback, is that correct?
Correct, but that's including the overhangs of the roof.
Okay. Now, the frontage, let's get to the frontage. We pointed out that there's the right-of-way up to Tuckerman Avenue. So, in the front of the home, there's going to be a porch?
Yes.
Okay, and that's going to be 7 feet from your property line, is that
Property
right?
line, correct.
If the relief is granted, that's what you're asking?
Yes.
And actually, house itself will be how far from the property line?
From the, 12 feet from the property line.
So from Tuckerman Avenue, you're looking at distances of 27 feet for the porch and 32 feet from the house itself.
Yeah, I mean, if that's showing this, but. So. From the northeast corner of the house to Tuckerman Ave, so this is that right away we're speaking of. This distance is about, we say 32 feet, 33. And from the southeast corner of the garage to Tuckerman is 44 feet.
Now, the lot coverage, you're asking for, with your plans, 35% lot coverage as opposed to the 25 which is allowed.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, you did a calculation as to what your overhang on the house contribute to that lot coverage.
Yes, it did.
And what is that?
The overhangs make up 5%. Without the overhangs, it comes out to just below 30% lot coverage, the roof overhangs.
And I think Mr. Hull will point out the size of the lot is a little bit below average in the neighborhood, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, your home has, you're looking for, the plan showed 3 bedrooms and also a room that would be an office and possibly a bedroom, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, what is the actual footprint of the home?
The first floor is just under 1,700, I think it's 1,692.
And the total living area is what?
The actual living area is 27, just over 2,700 square feet.
Now, you have in the home, it has your bedrooms, your bathrooms, your living area, kitchen, and dining area, is that correct?
Correct.
Is there any other amenities that you've included in that aren't typical for a home?
Just the bare necessities, no movie theaters, nothing like that.
All right, now, your plans, as I suggested in my opening remarks, you are going to move from your present residence, is that correct?
Correct.
And that's actually your mother's home, right?
Yeah, I want to get at my mom's house, so.
So you're gonna be,
No offense, Mom.
so you're gonna be leaving there and moving to this house if you're allowed to build this, is that right?
Correct.
It will be your permanent home down here, your full-time residence, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, how many, you have 2 children now?
Yep.
And your plans for your family after this?
If everything goes well, we'd like to have more.
Okay. So you're looking for a need for a larger house just to accommodate also your family, is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, just in terms of your connection here to this area, your mother owns the house behind you and had owned this lot, is that correct?
Correct.
Since 1983?
Yep.
And you've been coming to Middletown, well, I'm sorry, withdraw that question. Your mother's a school teacher.
She
a
was,
school
yes,
teacher.
yeah.
And so you spent summers here in Middletown?
Yeah, I was born in 1983. I've been coming here every summer since 1983.
Okay, so you're familiar with the area and you now want to make it your permanent home, is that right?
Correct.
Now, your brother also owns a home on Tuckerman Avenue, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, you also, you have a landscaping business, is that correct?
Yes.
And you had it up in Easton, Massachusetts, is that right?
Yeah, we started up in 2006 up in Easton, and we've been just doing little jobs like hedge trimming and stuff since 2006 down here. But last year's the first year we did full service down here, and it was a great success. So that's
Okay.
part of the reasons why.
Your business has actually grown that you're doing work here in Rhode Island. is that
Correct.
right? Now, I just wanted, there was some letters, a couple of objectors sent in, and they raised issues about parking. What are the plans for off-street parking on the property?
We're actually increasing the amount of parking we currently have. I think a lot of people got confused when the letter got sent out saying we were looking for a 7-foot setback in the front, and I don't think people realized that there's that 20-foot right away that the town owns along Tuckerman. So everyone thought we were putting this house 7 feet off of Tuckerman Ave, not the 32 and 44 feet that it actually is.
All right, so you have a garage, you'll be parking,
So yeah, we're looking for a single car garage, so that would add another parking space. And the way we were looking to do it, the garage would be set back even more, another 10 feet. So really just adding a lot of parking compared to what's currently there. So like I said, it'd be set back further than this is. The single car garage would be even further back here, so we're adding parking.
okay. Now, I think in one of the letters, it suggested that there's parking of all types of vehicles or trailers or boats and that. Is that accurate?
I have parked my boat there on occasion if I was too tired to drive it back to Easton. But as far as parking all that stuff, it's not true.
All right, well, the garage, you haven't used the garage for your landscaping business, is that correct?
I might throw a wheelbarrow in there every now and then. Pretty much has my mopeds in it.
All right, but how many customers do you have on Tuckerman Avenue?
Just on Tuckerman and Esplanade, we have 15 customers.
All right, so if your vehicles are down there, it's because you're doing work.
Because we're working.
On the property, including for the couple of the objectives, you're doing work for them, is that right?
Correct.
All right, now, the construction will be of what type of materials?
All high-end stuff, nice Anderson windows, AZEK decking, things like that, whatever's gonna withstand the elements. Obviously, on the ocean, I don't wanna be replacing clapboards and windows every couple of years, so we'll be using high-end stuff.
All right, and then for the landscaping, of course, that's right up your alley, is that right?
Yeah, it should be beautifully landscaped.
All right, I have nothing more for the witness.
Okay. Any questions for the witness?
I just wonder why the house is so wide when you have such a narrow lot. I think it wasn't thought out enough. I think that the amount of area that you're leaving on the sides is too small. I understand that you have a narrow lot, and I fully understand that.
Yeah. No, I mean,
And-
essentially, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I just don't think it was planned, this house was planned to be on a small lot like that right there.
No, it was. We never tried making a house before, designing a house before until my mother gave us this lot. I mean, we took in consideration the way the neighborhood is and everything when we were designing it. I mean, essentially, like, it's really just the same width as the existing garage, but we're looking to have a single car garage added to the side. And I think the overhangs is what really kind of makes it look smaller than it is. It's the front, I mean, the right side of the existing garage, it's probably the same, maybe a foot in from where it is now.
How much is the overhang on the house?
It has 2-foot overhangs on the right side, and there's a 1-foot overhang on the left side.
And what's the idea of that? Just for looks, is that what it is?
Yeah, just looks, it's a tough area. Like I said, the lots are so small there. We're trying to work with what we could without making something too crazy and destructive to the whole neighborhood. So just adding little things here, just kind of make it look nice.
But I think when you have such a small lot, that you should concentrate on condensing the width of the house. I just think you're way overbuilt. 5 feet away from the edge of the lot, you almost don't have enough room to work on the house, at a 3-story house. You have to work on go onto the neighbor's property in order to set staging up and do stuff like that right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, this is a new construction. It's not
Yes.
something that's existing, that's been there since the 50s or 40s when there was no zoning and stuff like that right there. This is today. I understand you have a small lot, but I just find, and I've always felt it, because I haven't been on the board for a year. I was off for a year, but I was on there for 30 some years before that. So I just think that's too close, too large a house in width to do it. Now, if you want to put a garage, well, you can have the porch a little bit smaller and still have the garage in there. But I just think it wasn't planned for a small lot.
It was, no, I can tell you 100% it was planned for this lot.
The only other thing, and so I respect those comments, absolutely, but But the only other thing I would point out is that this lot, I mean, being down in that area, with the Ocean Beach view and that, the town assesses that lot at over $600,000. The only thing I would point out with that is you're probably not going to put with a lot like that, a cookie cutter type of house or a starter home on that also. I mean, it is, I think it's reasonable to maybe take that into account also.
I just have a few comments. I think that, I think you're well-intentioned, and, but if you, I'm sure you understand the trends over the past 15 years of this area of the street.
Yep.
And you should recognize that if you feel it's reasonable for you to ask for these reliefs, both of your neighbors may ask for the exact same thing. And you've got this nice deck on your south elevation, and you may be 14 feet away from someone else's deck.
Yeah.
That's 3 stories tall.
Yeah.
It just seems to me to be short-sighted to not anticipate that type. Maybe you'll be happy with that, but I think the character of the neighborhood will suffer. And so I think that, I'm not saying that you shouldn't ask for relief, but I think, and then the other thing, the front yard setback, the reason that there's that the town has right of way there is, you know, there's no sidewalk along this area of the street.
Yeah.
And if it keeps on getting built up to the point that it's going to, that'll have to be installed. So that's another thing that should be anticipated.
Yep.
So you won't be able to park your car where you think you can park your car, and that'd be another reason to maybe increase that setback for future. Because, yeah, it'll be on you. It's not going to be on the town if
Yeah.
they decide to put the...
That's correct, but that setback is a little unusual, 20 feet,
No, yeah, sure.
you know, on that lot.
But if there was street parking, and then there was a sidewalk,
It's true, it's still a right-of-way, I understand, yeah.
that's what it, yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant?
Well, I mean, in terms of, I've heard a couple of comments from 2 members of the board. And, I mean, this is something that, if it looked like this plan was not going to meet approval, we could attempt to see if we could rework it to try to bring down some of that relief.
Show some of these findings first, and just take that. I mean, because I don't think we're really changing the way it's already been changed.
So would you like to look for a continuance to next month?
Yeah, I think we should continue this to next month.
Mr. Kane, do we need a motion for that? I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. Reagan? A motion?
Let me just vote to continue it.
Continue it?
Yeah. It's a simple vote to
So I'll motion
continue
to
it at the
continue
applicant's
case
request.
For, until the March hearing.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
That would be March 26th?
That's correct.
Yeah. Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
See you next month.
Thank you.
We're going to take a short 5-minute break and be back here in 5.